Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. I'm your host, Detective Trogdor, and today we are going to be doing a fast 5-minute recap of the last 5 episodes. 5 for 5.
5 for 5.
But first, we got to give a shout out to my sponsor. Thank you, Bora Coffee, for the sponsorship and providing me with excellent coffee. I would like to encourage all my viewers to please check them out. Their website will be presented on the screen and in the description below, uboracoffee.com. Thank you for listening. Now on to the video. And with that, we are going to begin our fast 5-minute recap, 1 minute for each segment. And first off, Groundhog's Day. Groundhog Day is a holiday that was brought over by German settlers, also known as the Pennsylvania Dutch. They thought that by animals coming out of the ground at a certain time, and if they ran back in, then they could tell weather that way. In our case, for Groundhog Day, it was a groundhog that if it came out of the ground and saw its shadow and ran back in, it means we have 6 more weeks of winter-like weather. Or if it came out of its burrow and didn't see anything, then we're going to expect an early spring. The OG Groundhog Day takes place in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. It is held on February 2nd every year. The president of the Inner Circle will pull Phil out of his home at Gobbler's Knob in a little stump, and he'll speak to him in Groundhogese, and he'll then at that point understand if he saw a shadow or not. There are other rodent prognosticators across North America, all the way into Canada, all the way out west as far as Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. And this tradition is one of those little weird, quirky things that just keeps, what makes America great, and more importantly, what makes Pennsylvania great. Centralia Mine Fire. Centralia is an unincorporated town in Columbia County, Pennsylvania. And it only became unincorporated because on May 27, 1962, a fire that was started in the landfill breached down into the abandoned mines below and started a fire that was still to this day burning uncontrolled. Many efforts were made to extinguish the fire when people noticed that something was wrong. The fire started burning underneath the actual town of Centralia and started causing subsidence. The town of Centralia was a coal mining city, and after the use of coal and anthracite had pretty much been run out and nobody really wanted to use them anymore, the town still remained and people still lived there. After a long legal battle, the residents that decided to stay were allowed to stay, and as of today, only 5 people now are legally allowed to live in Centralia. However, when they die, due to eminent domain, the federal government now retains rights over the lands and their houses, so no one can move back into them. Thankfully, no one was killed or seriously injured during any of these subsidences or gas leaks out of the house, but a lot of people were forced to leave the land that they had grown up on. Falling Water. Falling Water was a house designed and built by architect Frank Lloyd Wright for the Kaufman family outside of Pittsburgh. The family wanted a weekend getaway house, so they contracted Frank Lloyd Wright to build him a house out in the middle of Bear Run, which they had purchased in 1926. In 1939, Falling Water was completed, and the family started using the house. In 1976, Falling Water was designated a National Historic Landmark. In 1963, Edgar Kaufman Jr. deeds Falling Water and the surrounding 1,500 acres to the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy. In 1964, Falling Water was opened for tours. The thing that was so fascinating about the design of this house is not only was it built directly into the landscape itself, so it didn't actually have to remove any materials, it was built around it, but it was also built over a waterfall. The Great Percy Fire of 1989. On June 26, 1988, over $9 million worth of damage was done to the town of Percy when 2 12-year-old boys decided to start playing with matches in a coal bin, which turned into a 4-alarm fire which burned down a block and a half of the town. Many historical buildings were lost that day, such as the American Hotel, Lecher's 5 and 10, the Herstein Building, and parts of the Moyer-Kattner Building. On top of all the monetary damage that was done, a lot of people had lost their homes that day, mostly people that were renting apartments at the time, and they had nowhere to go. The fire took over 5.5 hours to extinguish, and 275 firefighters from 50 different companies in 3 different counties in the area arrived to help put out the fire. Only 16 people, mostly firefighters, were injured during the firefighting efforts. Both of the boys and their parents avoided felony charges, and the boys both only served 500 hours community service, and they were only charged with a misdemeanor for failure to report a fire. The Dar Mine Disaster. On December 19, 1907, at 11:30 a.m., 239 lives were ended as an explosion occurred in the Dar Mine. The explosion could have been caused by one of two reasons. Either A, miners using open flame headlamps wandered into an area where explosive gases were present, or B, there was a delayed explosion of dynamite that might have been left there from days prior. Following the explosion, people arrived on scene in 15 minutes to try to pull as many people out of the cave as they could, but unfortunately, only 2 people survived the explosion. Joseph Mapleton, who was a pump operator, was on his way out of the mine when the explosion occurred and he was blinded temporarily. And Tom Williams, who was a minecart rider who was sitting near the mouth of the cave. The Dar Mine was shut down afterwards because there was no need to get coal out of an area where people were probably just going to die again. Regardless of what caused the explosion, everyone agrees it was a culmination of massive neglect from management above as well as supervision below. Though the Pittsburgh Coal Company did not officially face charges and was not held responsible for the deaths of everyone in the cave, they did pay for the funerals for everyone as well as they updated their regulations to no longer allow open flame mining helmets. And with that, I am now several layers of shirts heavier, and the 5-minute recap is now done. If you like this video and would like to see more of these, please give me some comments down in the section below. Tell me what you would like to see in the next upcoming videos. I'm currently working on researching a Philadelphia iceberg video, which is taking me a little bit longer, and the recording and the editing will take exponentially longer. If you didn't already notice, I already got set back from the last video. But if you have any topics, any suggestions, please give a comment below. Can you please throw a like on the video? Please share this with as many people as you know so we can get, a little bit more momentum going. We still are only at 19 people subscribed to the channel as of the recording of this video, but we did break 10 people on Instagram. I still have not done the Facebook group or the Facebook page because, like I said, I'm lazy. But hopefully I will see you in the next video. Thanks again to Eubora Coffee for sponsoring me with coffee, and please check them out. Link in the description, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye!